Welcome back to the Circuit Revival, where today we're going to take a look at this Frigga clothes steamer. Now, I'm going to be honest, this thing is much bigger than I thought it was going to be. When I got it, I thought it would be a little hand thing. It's actually massive, so kind of give you an idea of how big this is. So we'll get into it and we'll see if we can work out what's wrong. So it comes with the box there. Looks like it's still got the instructions with it. And it seems like someone has sent it with water in it still. That's kind of mad, really. So at least the seal in that works quite well, so that didn't leak out everywhere. And then here is the item. So you can see it's a lot bigger than I expected it to be. I kind of presumed it would be about maybe half the size of this. So it looks like it's just got a big on-off button at the back here, and then this must slot in and lock into place by the looks of things. There we go, and there it is. So I don't know what's wrong with it, so we'll have a look. We'll see, first of all, we'll just unplug that just in case it starts spraying out everywhere or anything. We'll just need to begin with whether it works. So I'll just check to begin with the plug, just in case there's an issue with, say, the fuse or something. So I'll go into continuity, and that's the mode that beeps, so nothing there, nothing there. We'll just check, there is a fuse in this. There is a fuse of 13 amp, and that is good. So if we plug this in, hopefully it should turn on. And if not, that might be what the problem is. So I'll just plug this in. Okay, so we're just plugged in there, and it does turn on and flashes a bunch of colours. I'm guessing part of that is due to the fact that there's nothing attached to it. It is just flashing red. And then if you hold it down, it looks like it turns off again. So it looks like it flashes through colours whilst it turns on. So let's start by attaching this back in, and then we'll try to turn it on again. Oh no, it's single press. And then we still just have red flashing. Don't know whether that means it's trying to heat up. We'll just leave this for a second, see if it does anything. Okay, so it's still flashing, and we're turned blue now. So I don't know whether that means it's up to heat, but if I press this button in, it doesn't seem to do anything. I can see little bits of steam coming out of it, but it doesn't seem like it's working. So to me it sounds like it's not engaging the motor. So we'll get it turned off just so it can cool down, and then we'll see if we can get into this. Okay, so it's cooled down a bit. It's still a bit hot to touch, but we'll try and see if we can get into this. So underneath where the water screws in, there's two screws. So I'm sort of hoping that's just going to lift this whole handle section off, and then we'll be able to get into it a bit further. So I'm hoping it's quite simple. I imagine the majority of this is clips, given what it looks like, but we'll see. So that undoes the pump section. Well, let's just see. So inside this pump, it looks like there is a spring. So I wonder whether maybe that spring's come detached from the actual button, but it didn't really help me get in. But it has lifted this off, and this does sound like it is clipped in. So we'll get our spudger and see if we can just unclip this round. Okay. Oh, it's like not like, I feel like there's a clip under here. Oh, there we go. There were some clips. See if there's just some clips down the bottom here as well. Okay, there we go. Okay, so that button does press a switch, and the switch is engaging, but is it working, I suppose, is the real question, because you can hear the button engaging. So there's just another screw underneath here, so we'll see what happens if we undo that. And then that lifts up. I guess this front section has clips as well. I think if we can get the front off, we should hopefully be able to just split it open in half there. Some kind of clips, there we go. Let's come up slightly, go all the way around. Okay, there we go, we're in. And that does show two little screws at the top here on either side that we can hopefully then use to get just the rest of this open. Okay, yeah. So there's the on-off switch. So hopefully we can get this off. That gives us a bit more room. And where I pulled that, it has broken the plastic slightly, which is a shame. Just a couple of those clips that hold it in place there. Shouldn't be anything major though. Okay, there we go. There's the top section off. Okay, we can get to the switch contacts here now though, which is good. So we can test those. We just come in a bit. You can just see just here, just behind here. Here are the contacts for that switch. So if we get our meter into continuity, which is the mode that beeps when we have a complete circuit. When we touch these, we should have nothing. And then test it, we can press the switch and see whether it beeps. So the switch is working. So it must be the motor itself that's gone then. Yeah, we'll try and see if we can get into this a bit more to be able to see what's going on. Because everything's so tightly packed in there, it's hard to tell. So we'll just undo the strain relief on the wire here, which hopefully might give us just a bit more room to see. And then I'm hoping we might be able to just pull the motor out slightly and take a look at it. Okay, so that's the strain release out of the way. So we've got the black lead of the motor goes down to the board that says pump, and then the big grey lead here goes to the switch, is that right? Yeah, it goes to the bottom end of the switch. So there's a big, what looks to be like a starter capacitor on the board there, a surface mount capacitor, a through hole, there's a diode there as well, and then just a few other capacitors and things. So, and it looks like this pump is sort of held in with this bracket. It's just a little bit too... Oh no, it has done. So that's the pump off. I can then hopefully get this pump out of it. Okay, so it looks like it's all just friction fit in place anyway, actually, so that's quite good. Still not entirely sure what that spring is for, unless it's just to keep it a bit more rigid, because that spring is not attached, so I don't know whether maybe it needs to be attached and it's split in the middle, that's where the problem is. I can't work out what that spring would be for otherwise, because that was in the bottom end of the pump. Can't see how that would do anything. Don't know whether maybe the spring works as maybe like a filter or something, so as the water gets forced through, it sort of catches anything. It's got this top end on it. See whether we can just take that off. So the top end is attached just by two sort of like hex screws. So just in case maybe there's something inside it that's causing it sort of like jam up or something. So this strikes me as it was broken sort of from new, because although there was water in it, doesn't feel like it's ever been used for anything, so I'm just wondering whether maybe it was broken from the factory. Okay, so undoing those removes this whole section in the middle, which feels blocked. Yeah, so I can't blow through it, so I don't know whether maybe this is supposed to be like that or not. But I feel like you probably should be able to blow through that. And then we've just got the little pump here. So how does that work? What's that supposed to do? I don't really understand how that's supposed to function. I might just do a little bit of research on how these look, but let's just take a look at the circuit board for now, see if there's anything that stands out on here. To be honest, I don't know how I'm going to get all this back in afterwards. Because we've got this, okay, so this big thing here is a relay. So is there a chance the relay's not working? So I don't see anything on here that wouldn't work. Do we have a fuse anywhere? Everything seems connected. I don't see any fuses. But also I didn't hear the relay switching, so I'm wondering whether maybe the relay itself might have gone. So what does it say on the side? So on the relay it says 932 24 volts DC. So does that mean it needs to see 24 volts to switch? I think that's what that means. I think it takes 24 volts to switch on or off. So I don't think I'll be able to get that with my power supply, but we'll just check whether there's anything on the board that's causing it. So I'll just check for any shorts on any of these capacitors here. Okay, so does this get any voltage without the power board being attached? No, so nothing there. And then let's try and get this power board plugged back in then and see if we can switch this on. Okay, we'll try to turn this on then. So we get the light, say we're heating up. Do we get anything now? So still nothing happening there. Okay, it doesn't look like we get anything. See if we can get this pump detached. So just so we know, the black lead is on the right there. There's the other one. So I think we need to work out how this actually works. So I'm just going to do a little bit of research and see how this pump works, because I don't really understand how this just sitting on top like this can do anything. Okay, so I've done a little bit of research, and what this is a solenoid pump. And it seems like this is possibly what the issue is, unless it's something that's not turning it on, but that sort of seems unlikely as it's all kind of cabled in and everything. But then again, I can't hear that relay switch, but I don't think I've got any way of testing the relay. The problem I've got is the pump looks like it's going to cost about a tenner to replace, and ultimately that's about the same price as the product, so it's probably not really worth it. But I can't really test this relay either, because I think it needs 24 volts to switch it, but I don't have that. But I guess I might be able to try a lower thing and see whether it has a chance of switching a lower voltage, and that's just sort of like the ideal to the, or like maximum. But I think it does say on here 932-24 volts DC, so I don't really know what the spec of that is, but I'll try plug it in again and see whether we get anything different from this switch, because I'm guessing that is the problem, and these are AC, these motors, so I don't think I'm going to get the pump to work without the without it being in the board or using my power supply. So I don't think that's going to work, but let's try a slightly higher voltage or a slightly lower voltage, see whether we can switch this relay. So it's unplugged and I've got my bench power supply here. I'll try at 2 volts to begin with, and I'll see whether I can switch this relay. So on this, there should be sort of like a AC side and a DC side. So I'm guessing the DC side is on this top part of the board because it's where the majority of the smaller components are and where it's more populated. Whereas down the bottom here, I'm guessing is the AC side. I'll see if I can try with just a couple of volts and see if I can get this relay to switch, and I'll be able to hear it if it does. So nothing at 2 volts. Let's try go up to 4. No, so I don't think I'm going to get enough power in this to get this relay to switch. No, so this relay doesn't look like it wants to switch with the power supply I've got here, so I don't think I'm going to be able to fix this one really, because I think it is the pump that's gone. It makes sense that that's what's gone. I still don't really fully understand what this spring is for, or whether it's supposed to be joined and that's where the issue is, and that spring's supposed to keep tension on this pump, which could be the case to a degree, that if there's like a little valve in the end, that this pulls it tight, and then when the pump goes on, it pulls this the other way, which opens up the pump to allow the water in, or close off the valve, or opens the valve to let it in. And maybe that's what caused the fault in the first place, where this spring broke, and because the spring broke, too much pressure was going on the solenoid pump here, that it sort of just overheated and went bang. So I'm fairly certain that this is the problem, but I don't think I can feasibly fix it. Just from a cost standpoint, I don't think it's really worth replacing this pump, given that the price of a new unit is about the same, basically. So if anyone in the comments down there knows what is likely the problem, or whether this pump is the problem, or whether there's a way to test the pump, let me know, because I'd be intrigued to know whether this actually is the fault or not. But unfortunately, I think that puts us 2 for 2 for losses, really. So I think that's 6-2. So hopefully next video will have a more positive result. But thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.